Baby, I'm blending in with the backdrop. Do y'all not want me to sit like this? I just don't want my sweetmeat to be on me. Oh.
Welcome to Americana. We're back with the latest updates on the 2024 presidential election. I'm your moderator, Raquel Herring, joined by our Democratic host, Shakia Moore, and our Republican host, Willie Montague. With just 7 days until Election Day, the race between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris is heating up. Let's dive into today's campaign highlights and find out what's happening on the trail. Tonight, Vice President Kamala Harris will deliver her closing argument speech on the ELLIPSE in Washington, the same site as the January 6th Stop the Steal rally. The Morning Joe panel dives into what this choice of location may signal and discusses Harris's plans. Shakia, how do you project this will play out? Do you think this location will amplify her message to voters, or could it be seen as a controversial choice?
I think that's a great question. Critics will say that it's controversial, but I do believe that it's symbolic of what was, and it's a depiction of what's to come. I think it's going to resonate a lot with those who will be in attendance tonight, and I look forward to seeing her bridging the aisle of folks, whether they are Democrat, Republican, Green Party, Independent. It doesn't even matter at this point. We're 7 days away, and I just really hope that she sticks to policy when she's talking with them tonight, but I think it's going to be a monumental occasion for her tonight in the campaign.
All right, Willie.
The hypocrisy is crazy because if you look at it, if President Trump was to show back up there again, they would have an absolute crazy fit about it.
Why would we? Why would we? Because y'all, you guys. So there was an insurrection.
But
so there was an insurrection.
I see you lied about it.
So there was one.
There wasn't.
There
That's
was.
why you lied.
Okay.
So, but what we're saying, is that here she's going showing up, and this is all skits and schisms. Is part of the play. But I hope that she gives her closing argument and makes some kind of plea for the rest of the sanity that is left in the Democrat Party.
I look forward to this.
On the other hand, Willie. On the other hand, former President Donald Trump will be campaigning in the swing state of Pennsylvania. Willie. What are you looking forward to from Trump's Pennsylvania campaign?
I will just say this. I think that we are in a great place right now as you're looking at it across the board. He's continuing to show up to the swing states, which is very important. And so I think that we're going to see the incline. And of course, there's going to be rhetoric that comes from the left because that's what they do. They have to find something to have under their pillow at night.
It's not hard to find anything when it lands in your lap, especially with him going to Pennsylvania and Pennsylvania having nearly 580,000 Latino voters. And even though he did not make the comment the other day at his rally, the comedian in attendance made this comment about Puerto Rico being an island of garbage, like a floating island of garbage. And so Trump has yet to denounce or bring any type of resolution or an apology to the Latino voters, but yet he's going and soliciting their votes. But we haven't even received an apology.
That's not true.
That is true.
When people don't follow, follow President Trump. Let's make this clear. There's a news report that's coming out that this possibly was actually something that was coming to sabotage President Trump's campaign.
The comedian?
By the Harris campaign.
The comedian.
Because they found that there was notes that took him off of the actual teleprompter.
So
we're waiting for this investigation
how did the
to take
Harris
place.
campaign get inside of the Trump
how
rally?
How else are y'all burned down?
Ooh, baby, y'all be reaching.
We got to go on. Make sure you stay tuned for the latest campaign trail updates. Now it's time to move on to political programs. Immigration has been a central issue in the 2024 presidential election, sparking widespread debate and concern. Our goal is to inform and educate, breaking down what's at stake for immigrant rights from both Republican and Democratic perspective. Let's start with Republican standpoint. Willie, could you share what's at stake for immigration rights in the upcoming election?
I believe that we're going to see security in the United States of America when we come with immigration. I think that the Democrat side and leadership has done a horrific job, but to them, a good job at fear-mongering people to think that President Trump, his administration, was somehow going to come and wrangle up these individuals. Meanwhile, let it be known that there are laws in place, and when you have Congress, you have Senate, you have to go through the upper and the lower chamber. And as it was stated earlier on in the beginning of our show, that about civic classes. So if we understood about our civic duties, we would realize that it doesn't just happen that way. President Trump just cannot come in with a lasso and wrap them up. So I think we're going to actually see our country restored to a place where we're respected, where we're a secure border, and that the people of the United States of America is able to function without the fear, as we have seen with many people who have been killed by gangs that have come from over the border. We have seen the drug trafficking. I know we mentioned it's all over the place. The fentanyl and stuff that's coming in by droves and number over the border. I have personally been to the border and have witnessed for myself what is going on. This is not Trump thing. I was there, and I seen the buses. I seen the wristbands from the kids that have been used from the cartel and used as commodity tickets to get to the United States of America. This is my own eyes. I've got the pictures. I got the videos. I was physically there, and I seen the gaps in the wall where they were coming over and getting in these buses and sneaking over onto the Texas side and getting into the United States of America. I don't know if anybody else has been over there, but you should go check it out.
Well, I definitely have not been over to the border. But I do think that there should be security in place when it comes to border security. That's not something that Vice President Harris is aloof to. She is very aware that there is a border crisis. But let's just be real clear about something. Project 2025, when it comes to immigration, within the first 180 days, Donald Trump, plans to not just round up and have a migrant deportation, not just at the border. He is doing this as a national focus. So that just doesn't mean within Texas or in Mexico. That is all of the United States. So any communities that have immigration populations or folks who are here on a working visa, folks who are trying to seek asylum seekers who are here legally and waiting for due process, they will then have a harder time with becoming a legal citizen of the United States. At the border, it will become militarizing the border, meaning that it will be more military personnel, including machinery. When you hear machinery, what do you think? I think of tanks. I think of more guns. I think of more barbed wires. I think of more hindrances for people who are wanting to come to America to seek a true and just living. Just like President Trump's grandfather did. He was from Germany. He came here at a time where it was illegal, but because Germany, it was more of a population that was more favorable in the United States, they allowed him to stay. So if we're going to go back to like genealogy and really trace this thing, Trump also needs to be deported.
Well, let's be clear. I think that we say, I want this to be very clear. We have a piece of article in the United States of America called the United States Constitution. We could talk all day long about Project 2025. We have a constitution, we have a law in place, and we have Congress members. Not all of the 435 members of Congress are Republicans. We have senators. Not all 100 senators are Republican. So it's just not going to happen. This fear-mongering tactic that is used on the radical left side is the reason why we are so divided in this nation, is because they want people to think that we're coming in as Republicans in this racist mindset to come in, just rally up every single person. We have a constitution for a reason.
We do have a constitution.
A rule of law for
You
a
are
reason.
absolutely correct. And in that constitution, Trump's mother became a citizen in 1942. She was able to have due process and become a legal citizen in 1942. Here we are in 2024, and her very son, who is running for the highest office of this land, is trying to prohibit other folks who are coming over to the United States to become a legal citizen. So let's talk about hypocrisy. Let's talk about it all.
It's about
Let me ask you, I have a question that I want to
ask.
ask you, Shakia. How does Vice President Harris plan to balance immigration enforcement with humanitarian considerations?
So there was a bipartisan deal on the table. We all know that.
Right.
And it was stopped because then President Donald Trump wanted to have it on his agenda. And so now he's campaigning on that, causing fear-mongering tactics. And so with her, she wants to have a secure border. That is not That's not aloof to her. Like
That
she
is a joke.
She wants to have a secure border, and with that, she wants bipartisan.
You keep talking about
and a Republican put that plan together. Right?
Yes.
You keep talking about something that happened
and
during
Trump
that time.
was like, I want this to be my campaign
the
agenda.
problem.
Yes.
Answer this question. What the hell has she done in the 4 years that she's been in there as the border Caesar that she could have went there and done something?
So to
She
be
hasn't
clear-
done one
But then you
measly
just said
thing.
that the things
Not-
have to
she
go through
has
a
not.
process.
And she had the ability to do it.
But there was a bill on the table,
No,
yes?
listen,
Oh,
that
have mercy.
bill was
Okay.
during whose term? Whose term was that bill there? It was not during this term. If she felt like she had all the courage and the backbone and matum that she is, why did she not go to the members of Congress
that
to get these
yes,
things
she
done?
was given the opportunity to do something with our border, but there is a process where she has to get bipartisan. She has to get everybody to come to the table. If not everyone wants to come to the table, and then the president at that time did not sign it,
We're
what
going to
else
move
is she supposed to
on.
do?
Sorry, you guys. Coming up next, find out what's been trending on social media, and we have the latest poll, so stay tuned. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Welcome back. The 2024 presidential election has been trending across all social media platforms. Let's take a look at some of the most recent social media updates. Renowned economist Christophe Baroud, known as the world's most accurate economist, has made a bold prediction for the 2024 election. He anticipates a victory for former President Trump and a Republican clean sweep of Congress. Baroud also forecasts accelerated U.S. economic growth post-election, regardless of the outcome. Willie, how much do you think economics forecasts like these influence voters' decisions at the polls?
I think it is very influential, and this is why. Because, as I said, the main thing that people are talking about right now is the economy. And so when you have business owners, you have just everyday individuals that happen to say, what's going to happen with my dollars? What's going to happen with the bottom line? I think it's important. As it says, it doesn't matter the outcome on the post side of it. We're going to thrive as America, but I do believe in order to thrive, we need the economic plan that President Trump has to offer. And otherwise, if not, we're going to see a continued decrease, and I believe that we're going to see a failure, a recession like we have never, ever seen. It's going to be huge, bigly recession under VP Harris.
Shakia.
I really want to barf when I hear bigly. But anyway, I don't know if this guy is looking at the same election as we are, because him saying that there is going to be a Republican clean sweep in Congress is one hell of a stretch. You have many states right now who, not even just at the local level, but you have Senate races who are very tight. You have that in Texas. You have that in Florida. You have a number of states that people are tired of the same divisive tendencies that we've seen in a long, long time. And folks are just ready for a change. So for him to say that that's his forecast, obviously he's a Republican. He's vying for Trump to win. But if he's talking about economy, there was an article, I believe, in either the Wall Street Journal or either in the New York Times that said that there was an economy expert as well that mentioned that out of the economy plans that both candidates have, that Kamala Harris's plan would do the economy much better than Trump's economy. So where are we really bringing both policies to the table? And if we want to be real, Trump is not even talking about his economy plan anymore. He's too busy talking about immigration or other things that folks are not wanting to hear about. So to your point, you're saying that folks want to talk about economy. He's not even bringing that to the table anymore. That's not even on his radar. He's talking about holding people accountable and his revenge tour if he does get reelected. So his economy plan is not at the forefront of his mind. His revenge is.
Well, let's be clear about when he's talking about Congress. He's talking about the 435 members of Congress, not the 535 members of Congress, because we know that the Senate has always been tight due to the fact that VP Harris made up that additional vote if it was tied, because it was 50-50 Republican and Democrat. So here he's talking about Congress, and I do believe that the Republican Party will maintain or retain the United States Congress, the House portion of it. So,
it's going to be an interesting race.
While some of you have already casted your vote, there are countless American citizens who are still making their way to the polls to submit their ballot before Election Day. Take a look.
Poll tax certificate from 1960. This is when we had to pay poll tax. You had to choose between feeding your family or voting. You only made $2 a week because you didn't have jobs that we have today. Okay. So a lot of us didn't vote because that was voter suppression. We decided to feed our family. What do you do? Vote or feed your family.
And what year was this, ma'am?
1960.
Shakia, do you think reminding Black Americans of the history and struggles behind voting rights would encourage them to vote, understanding how much their vote truly matters?
That breaks my heart seeing that, because we're not too far removed from being in 1960. We're in 2024, and for her to be able to remember when she had to pay poll taxes just to cast her vote, and she's able to do that free today is mind-boggling. But we have a generation of Black Americans who have become very apathetic to the notion of being civically engaged until it's time to cast their vote. But then we have an even greater number of folks who are civically engaged and who are in the communities and telling folks about what it's like to cast your vote, not just for the nominees at the top of the ticket, but like a down ballot race. So your city commissioners, your mayors, your governors, you know, your elected officials that run your state, your day-to-day lives. And so I feel like we're seeing a number of Black Americans who are taking this serious, even though you have red states who are removing books from schools that will make it harder for Black Americans to understand government and what it is to be civically engaged. So I really encourage our Black Americans who are watching this broadcast to do your due diligence and teach your households about civic engagement and go back do watching old school stuff. I'm a Bill on Capitol Hill, you know, so stuff like that that taught you about government and policy.
Let me tell you, the fear mongers I said before comes always from the left. When I walk outside of my house, I'm a Black man that can walk out there. I have no suppression, no oppression. I'm able to stand in line.
Say that to Ahmaud Arbery, who was running in his neighborhood and was hawked down and killed.
This lady here, I appreciate what she is saying. That happened to her. That was what was in 1960. You do not have poll taxes in 2024. You as a Black person, I want this to be clear, the Black people I talk to is no longer ignorant. They're not falling for the radical left leadership and their divisive nature to make it seem that into 2024 that a Black man under Biden that stands up for Black people, under Harris, the VP, married to a white man that stands up for this consciousness of the Black people. I am not oppressed. I am not suppressed. Now, this is what I brought out here today. This is the lack. This is the lack of what Democrats don't have. They don't have a heart. And because they don't have a heart, they are not able to do what is necessary to serve the United States of America. Folks, we need people with courage. We need people with a heart. You are not oppressed. You are not suppressed. Black Americans, you got this. Don't let VP Harris trick you into a vote because she's the Black woman for the job. Get a heart, folks. Love y'all.
You talking about we don't have a heart, but y'all don't have balls.
There you go. That's all right. We'll bring those on the stage.
Let's be very clear. The balls that I am talking about is the courage to tell people that you are not going to stand for racial injustice and that you will bring everybody to the table to have a voice.
Wow. You can trust that we will fill you in on the latest news and social media updates. And now, on that note, let's check in on the latest polls. As of October 29th, 2024, the national polls show a tight race between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. Harris is currently at 48.1%, while Trump follows closely at 46.8%, both within a 3% margin of error. Surveys reveal that while voters have strong opinions on which candidate would handle top issues better, neither candidate has fully convinced a majority on key personal attributes. Willie, what do you think it would take for one candidate to stand out as a clear choice for the undecided voters?
As I just said, heart. We have to have heart. And if anyone can look at the shape that the Democrats have left this nation, the only presidential nominee that will be able to bring restoration, restitution, and collaboration is President Donald John Trump. He brings the policy, he brings the backbone, he's a leader, he's a businessman, and he is not cowardly like the rest of the Democrat leadership that has fallen to the wayside and created this almost third world country that they want America to become, so we are souped up. It's over.
Kia.
Baby, when you real, you ain't got to do a lot of hooping and hollering. The thing is, Vice President Kamala Harris will continue to stick to the issues and state her claim. She is a Black woman who is running for the highest office of the land, and she is quite certain and confident in what she can bring to the table. She doesn't have to put anyone down to make her point. She doesn't have to scream or demean any other demographic of folks to get her point across. It's clear she is confident in who she is, and she's able to do the job.
With the polls extremely tight, this race is too close to call, making it difficult to draw any solid conclusions. So I'd like both of you to share why voters should choose Kamala Harris or Donald Trump to be the next president of the United States. Shakia, let's start with you.
So I just led into that. I didn't even know the question. So yeah, I just led into it. So she is confident in who she is. She doesn't have to do a lot of hooping and hollering and fear mongering to get her point across. She has been in the White House. She has been alongside President Biden, who restored our economy after Trump put it in the garbage. And so now that she has a chance to be the chief of this country, I think that she is able to do the job. Is she perfect? Absolutely not. But she is humble enough to admit that, and she has a cabinet of folks around her who will give her opinion, who will sharpen her, and give her a full perspective of how to make this country truly better again.
Willie.
She's just a chief of an anthill. Let me explain something to you. President Trump is going to be able to get the job done, as I said before, and she does hoop and holler. She shows up to churches, basically trying to pander to black people to make it like she's now the great reverend evangelist of the United States of America. It's false. President Trump is the man for the job.
Wow, well, you all heard it here, right? So thank you so much for tuning into Americana. We are witnessing history in the making with the 2024 presidential election. You can meet us right here tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. for the latest updates and what's happening on the campaign trail. Thank you for watching.